Hello, welcome to Allen Baptist Church Daily Bible Study. We're looking at characters of the Bible in an alphabetical order, and we're at the letter L, and today we want to look at Lot, a guy that's not considered to be a very good example, but I think we can learn some things from him. His story is mainly found in Genesis 11 through 19. That's where you can find that story. I would encourage you to read it and see all the intricate details of it. But basically, Lot is Abraham's nephew. He was the son of Haran, and Haran died before the family moved from the city of Ur. And when Abraham moves his family from to Canaan, he takes Lot along. I guess he sort of adopted his brother's son. And Lot also accompanies Abraham when he first goes to Canaan and has to go on down to Egypt, and he takes him along then. Because he's associated with Abraham and sort of been adopted as a son, he has his own flocks and herds and tents, a fairly rich fellow. He's sharing in the blessings of God to Abraham and his family. But eventually Lot's people began to quarrel with Abraham's people, and so Abraham says, there's no need of us having a fight here. You take a look at this land of Canaan and pick where you want to go. And Lot picked out down in the Jordan Valley by the river, well watered, the best. He picked the best, in other words. But it might have been a land of promise for most, but for Lot, that was a bad choice. The cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, though may be looking like a paradise to him, is closer to being in hell. And of course, there's a lot of things that go on there, and you can go and read that. We don't have time to look at all the story, but eventually Lot gets into terrible trouble down there, and because of the sinfulness of those two cities. Abraham pleads with God anyway, even though Lot hadn't treated him very well in his actions. He pleads with God to save the cities, and they couldn't even find 10 righteous men there. So Abraham understood, but he pleads for his nephew and Lot and his daughters and his wife. God allows to escape, except his wife looks back. That meaning, more than just looking over your shoulder. It means she didn't want to leave. She liked it there. She liked the sinfulness, and that cost her life. But in all of that, God does save Lot. Some problems occur even right after that causes trouble in the consequences on down through time, and you can look at that too. But you can learn from people's life, and just because somebody is struggling doesn't mean they are not righteous or a believer in God. Lot seemed to be an honest believer in God. And so he becomes an example that Peter picks up on in 2 Peter chapter 2, 4 through 10. I'd like to read that. This 2 Peter 2, starting verse 4. For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them into the pits of darkness reserved for judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a preacher of righteousness, with 7 others, when he brought a flood upon the world of the ungodly, and if he condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to destruction by reducing them to ashes, having made them an example to those who would live ungodly lives thereafter, and if he rescued righteous Lot, oppressed by the sensual conduct of unprincipled men, for by what he saw and heard, that righteous man, while living among them, felt his righteous soul tormented day after day by their lawless deeds. Then the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from temptation, and to keep the unrighteous under punishment for the day of judgment, and especially those who indulge in the flesh in its corrupt desires and despise authority. Many people who are believers in Christ this day struggle in a very sensual, sinful society in which we're in. But God has the ability to keep us righteous, to keep our heart right, and to save us from the temptations that are around us. And that's the example of Lot. That to us, that as bad as it might get, God is able, if we hold to our belief and faith in Him, that He is able to save us in the midst of a very sinful world in which we live. I hope that you can take comfort from that if you're being oppressed by the sinful world in which we live. God bless you.